Number one thing that their responsibility is, their job is to protect us. If you see, they're both on our side, and what is he doing? He's always watching everybody, right? So if somebody comes near me, or look at, someone came behind me, and what did he do? He looked like, hey, what are you doing? So their first job is to protect us.
Good afternoon. My name is Rita Ross, and I'm here to represent the Wayne County Commissioner, Irma Clark Coleman of District 5, and to the family of Officer K-9 Gunner, a resolution in memorial of his service to Wayne County and the city of Detroit.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're gathered here today to celebrate the life of K-9 Gunner, Wayne County Sheriff's K-9 Unit. It was on a very cool day in March, a few years ago, a puppy was born. And that puppy did what other puppies do. He did his thing until he was 4 or 5 weeks old. They noticed that he was very alert, and they named him Gunner. Gunner then was selected to become a law enforcement canine. He did very well. His training started, he was very alert. By the time he was 15 months old, he's been certified. And for the next 7, 8 years, which that time went by, blink of an eye, he was retired and lived with the Brooks family. In a few minutes, you're gonna hear his full story. But I'd like to start off right now with an invocation by Lieutenant Colonel Mindy Albright. Mindy?
We approach your throne with hearts that are hurting. You know how the missing piece of this amazing K-9 Gunner has impacted all those near to him, his family, his friends, and yes, his peers. Thank you, Lord, for your design of Gunner's talents and passion, not only to serve on duty with Sergeant Brooks as his faithful partner, but as well his gentle, loving touch to all that were around him. As we've gathered here today to honor Gunner, we also ask, Lord, that you comfort Sergeant Brooks, Gunner's family, and yes, the entire Wayne County Sheriff Department with their loss of one of their own. The life of a police dog. You brought me home one sunny day with you for years, I would surely stay. I met your pack, children and wife. I began to love my new found life. I slept on your couch and at the foot of your bed. I looked at you and you looked at me lovingly while you petted my head. We trained for months and our bonding grew. We were both partners, buddies in blue. We did school demos and I never did wrong. Over all the years, my love for you grew strong. How I loved to work, to stand up and bark in the back of our car from light until dark. We went call to call, having fun all the way, pouring our efforts into every day. Speeding to calls with sirens aloud, my bark could be heard, dignified and proud. So pleased to have helped you in that major case. My greatest reward was the look on your face. We have been through so much these years. Now you must work hard to fight back those tears. So then the day has come that you must work alone, knowing that when you return, I will not be waiting at home. The silence in the car is so sad, and I start to remember those days that we had. But we will again ride together someday. So until then, it's at God's home that I will stay. Thank you, Lord, for these hero partners that sacrificed so much to stand on the wall for us. Amen.
Now I'd like to invite Sergeant Rick Brooks and Marissa, I believe you come up on the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. First off, I would like to thank Phil. Phil has been with me since the minute Gunner passed. Sorry. And he has helped me with everything. He's always been there to answer questions for me and my family, to help me prepare for today. For everything you and your crew have done here for Gunner, and my family and I will forever be grateful. To all the volunteers that worked hard to prepare for this day, thank you. I would also like to thank the wonderful people at Heavenly Acres Cremation Services who took such wonderful care of Gunner. They returned him to us in less than 48 hours after they received him. Losing him was one of the hardest days of our lives. But all of you made my family feel loved as they honored Gunner. Thank you to Joseph and Jessica from Liberty Woodworking. They made a beautiful piece of art that will be the centerpiece of Gunner's tribute wall in our home. It's placed behind the family. Thank you to my friend and co-worker, Sergeant Merriweather. She got something special from Wayne County and the city of Detroit for Gunner. That's because he was her buddy. There were times at work, after I came back from hitting around on the floors in the jail, I was worried Sergeant Merriweather was going to steal Gunner. She always made a joke that she was going to steal him. That was her buddy. I always had to check and make sure when I returned that he was in his crate if she wasn't in shift command. He was only in jail for a few weeks, but it didn't take long for him to make so many friends there. So to all my family, friends, and co-workers here today to honor Gunner, thank you. I remember my first day of canine training. The first thing we had to do was give Gunner a bath. That was a 2.5-hour experience. You see, Gunner was a long-haired sable, so it was unreal. The amount of hair was going everywhere. After that, we began our 16-week journey to become a canine team. After a few weeks went by, it didn't take long we realized who was training who. You see, this was Gunner's second time through the academy, so he was a seasoned professional. And that also goes to Corporal Rick Cadez, who was Gunner's first handler. Thank you. He was constantly teaching me. I got familiar with the term trust your dog by the head trainer. After 16 long weeks for me and 16 fun weeks that Gunner loved, we graduated and we were ready to hit the road. It wasn't long after we started working as a canine team, we were dispatched to assist a local department to do a track for a felony suspect. My partner Cobra Alvarado assisted me with this track. Gunner led us to the front door of a home. We knocked on the door and a female answered. She stated no one else was in the house and we were more than welcome to search the home. Gunner led the way and took us to the attached garage. He kept looking up at the ceiling. The only thing I could observe of the ceiling was a hatch that would lead to the attic of the home. There was no way somebody could be up there, I thought. But Gunner was barking and looking up, so Corporal Alvarado found a ladder, climbed up, popped open the access door, and guess who was hiding in the attic? That was when I really understood trust your dog statement that was beating into my head from training. From this day forward, Gunner took the lead, and I never second-guessed him again. I remember another track we did for a shooting suspect. It was the dead of winter. We tracked the suspect for over a half a mile. We got to an intersection where Gunner just stopped. I thought due to the extreme cold, he just lost the scent and couldn't pick it up. We called the track and resumed patrol. A few hours later, I received a phone call from the detective on the case. They obtained video surveillance from a home at the intersection where the track stopped. The surveillance showed the suspect was picked up by a car at that intersection. Another prime example of trust your dog. From hidden compartments in semis to hidden cars or cash in cars, Gunners always shined when it was time to perform. I'm a training officer, so while I would spend weeks training a new officer, Gunner also had to contribute to their training. Even though I was teaching them the necessary tools to be a patrol officer, Gunner was teaching them to be aware of their surroundings. These officers would be writing a ticket, filling out the daily log, just doing something where their focus was on what they were doing, and here would come Gunner, quick kiss, scaring the hell out of them. There are a few of these guys here today. But by the end of the training, they were ready to hit the streets, and they loved their new canine friend. Every day at the beginning of shift, when we pull up for duty at the station, I'd always have to let Gunner out so he could say hi to all his partners. They all just loved him. And they knew he would lay down his life to protect them. Another one of Gunner's favorite things to do was demos for local schools. There would always be a few people at these events that were scared of dogs, or they had the preconceived notion that police dogs are just violent attack dogs only. They would reluctantly approach Gunner, give him a real quick pet from a distance, and of course, Gunner would have to get in his quick kiss. Before you knew it, you could see the fear subside in them, and they would just instantly fall in love with Gunner. We would eventually have to tell the kid to move on so the next kid could come and meet Gunner. After a quick selfie, of course. They would all have to have a picture with this fluffy canine. This happened with kids and adults. We attended events yearly at the Wayne County Community College, Huron Valley Ambulance Camp 911, and the Sheriff's Office Field Day. He was always the star of the show. With his lovable demeanor, people just took right to him. I wish I had a dime for every time I heard someone say, "I just want to take him home." I think I'd be retired by now. Gunner was different when he got home. He knew when he got home, he was off duty and could be with his family. His family include all of us humans, 2 Chihuahuas, and 3 dwarf bunnies. Yep, 3 dwarf bunnies. You see, one day while picking up food for a Gunner, I mistakenly sent a picture of these little bunnies to my wife. Well, I just thought they were cute and think she would enjoy the picture. Guess what came home with me that day? My wife always said they were her bunnies, but if you look at the pictures on the board here, you would see they were Gunner's. From day one, he would watch over them, and you could not pick one of those rabbits up without his permission. One night, Ruby got out of her cage. Gunner immediately ran upstairs to tell Debbie something was wrong. He would nudge her, then run to the living room. Return, nudge her again, run to the living room. It was driving her nuts. But once she went and looked at the bunny's cage, she realized Ruby was gone. Gunner was jumping on the recliner, looking behind, telling telling Debbie, she's hiding over here. Debbie moved the recliner and there was Ruby. Wasn't long after that we came home from the store. We opened the front door, Ruby escaped again. Except this time she wasn't hiding. Her and Gunnar were just laying on the living room floor next to each other, looking at us like, what? If you look at the picture on the board, you'll see him lying on the patio with his bunnies. His loving personality was one of a kind. When friends would stop by the house, Gunnar had 2 rules. Rule 1, he better be the first one you come in the door and acknowledge. Rule 2, you're gonna play at least 1 game of tug with him before you leave. These were his rules. Gunnar had a special relationship with each person that knew him. Every time Ted and Kathy would come visit, Gunnar knew he was getting a new yellow stuffed animal. Whether it was morning coffee at Big B Coffee or visiting his friends at Auto Accessories, they all loved him. If I didn't stop by with Gunnar at least once a week, I would get a phone call to make sure everything was okay. Because of Gunnar, I've met so many great people and have built lifelong friendships. Many of them are here today, and they came to honor their friend. So I want to personally thank everyone that is here today. What a great turnout to celebrate the life of a great canine. Out of my 24 years in law enforcement experience, I can honestly say the best few years were with you. Love you, Gunnar.
When my dad first asked me to speak today, I thought, how can I make it through without crying? Then I realized me crying and the several of you crying along with me just shows how much Gunnar was really loved. I remember the first time my dad brought him home. I was so excited but a little scared because he was a real life cop dog. When my dad brought him into the house, I immediately fell in love with him. The first memory I have with Gunnar was the same day my dad brought him home. I snuck down into the basement where his crate was and laid on the floor. I stuck my fingers through the holes of the crate and just stared at him for a few minutes, and he stared back. Then he started to lick my fingers. I laid down there for him with about an hour, just memorized by his beauty and the way he was so gentle with me. I bragged about him so much, and I still do to this day. Going on many, and I mean many ride-alongs with my dad gave me the opportunity to see 2 different sides of Gunnar. The highly trained canine and the house dog. Even the Gunnar at work wasn't all that scary. He spent most of his time in the back of the car, poking his head through the middle opening, licking your ear and half of your face. He got most excited when we went through Tim Hortons drive-thru. He always got a few plain Timbits and a few for the road, but my dad would tell me he couldn't have them, but I always slipped him a few to be nice. Sorry, Dad. Gunnar loved to play Kong down in Hines Park. He loved to run in the open fields even if they were all muddy from a prior rainy day. Gunnar loved to work, and he loved to be around people. He loved meeting new people, but most importantly, he loved protecting my dad. When Gunnar got home, he was a whole different person. He'd make sure he said hi and slipped a quick kiss to everyone before he would run off to find his stuffed Mickey or his yellow bear Stan. He would occasionally get his stuffed animals taken away from him because he would try to take them to work, and he actually did succeed a few times. Or he would sneak them outside to make sure no one would take them and hide them while he was out. Gunnar had a daily routine with everyone in the house. Mine was waking up, him following me to the bathroom, and then he would go lay on his couch. And yes, he did have his own couch. And finally, I'd go to leave, and he'd sit in the front of the door and would not move. No matter what I did, I always had to move him myself. That is a daily routine that I will never not get used to doing anymore. Gunnar had a very pure soul. If he could sense someone in our family wasn't feeling well, he would not leave their side. Gunnar loved his family and friends, and he had so many of us wrapped around his paw, and he knew it. Gunnar retiring was kind of bittersweet. I was happy because now I could take him on car rides and to the pet store, but I was also sad for him because Gunnar just loved to work. I took Gunnar on his first civilian car ride on December 22nd, 2018, and I know that because of course we had to take tons of pictures. I took him to Petco and I bought him a giant yellow stuffed toy. Gunnar's favorite color was yellow, and all of his favorite toys were yellow, which is kind of ironic because yellow is known as such a happy color, and Gunnar brought so much happiness into people's lives. The hardest part about losing Gunnar isn't just trying to adjust to him not being there anymore, but rather not being able to pet his soft fur or give him kisses, and him giving us kisses after a long day coming home. Sorry. Everyone who knew Gunnar grew such a strong connection with him that looking at pictures or watching videos, you can almost feel his fur. You can feel the softness on your hands. Gunnar was there for all of my many moods. When I would be sad, he would listen to me talk. When I would listen to music, he would be my dance partner. And there were a few times he laid in my bed and helped me pick out my outfit. He was more than just a dog. He was a family member and a hero. There is not a day that goes by I don't think about him and shed a few tears. I could go on forever about Gunnar, but I'm absolutely sure every single person here knows what an amazing boy he was. Gunnar will be forever missed, and I love him dearly. Thank you.
Yeah, they become part of the family, don't they? We'd like to present the flag to Sergeant Brooks, please.
On behalf of Grateful America and the Patriot Guard Riders, please accept our sincere condolences on your tragic loss. May your pain be tempered by the knowledge that K-9 Officer Gunnar, Wayne County Sheriff's Department, is a true American hero. Patriot Guard Riders standing for those who stood for us. See, this coin for you and one for Gunnar. Sorry.
Bugler, sound off.
Art. Is that Art?
Now we'd like to have a canine salute to our fallen comrade.
know it's just a ride on the wheel, and we never know when death will shake us, and we wonder how it will feel. So goodbye, my friend. I know I'll never see you again, but the time together through all the years will take away these tears. It's okay now. Goodbye, my friend. I see a lot of things that make me crazy, and I guess I held on to you. You could have run away and left, well, maybe, but it wasn't time, and we both knew. So goodbye, my friend. I know I'll never see you again, but the love you gave me through all the years will take away these tears. I'm okay now. Goodbye, my friend. Life's so fragile and love's so pure. We can't hold on, but we try. We watch how quickly it disappears, and we never know why. But I'm okay now. Goodbye, my friend. You can go now. Goodbye, my friend.
Goodbye, my friend. Gunner.